Hi, this is Ian Wright, and this is Sunday live meditation. It was Saturday before, and we had internet problems. Let's see if we can make any progress with it tonight. And while people come, I'm just going to mention that the Dynamics of Stillness course is coming, and it's taking longer than I presumed because I'm kind of keep expanding it and bringing in new chapters and taking it off at in tangents that I didn't think I would do, but it'll still take a couple of weeks. But I'm kind of enjoying the putting together of that and really embodying some of the practices and developing them and bringing them in and really kind of developing. It's a real alive process, which is, I think, really enjoyable. And but the other two courses, the Anxiety Breaks and the Cranial Pediatrics, should theoretically, fingers crossed, be out towards the end of this week. So hopefully. So today we're just going to talk a little bit about this incredible potency and this power in forgiveness. I'm just going to talk about it first. So be thinking of maybe two people who you can use in this practice. Someone who's relatively easy to forgive, someone who's just, a member of the family who's just wound you up or something. And someone who's much harder, say a particular politician or particular nasty person, who you'd find really much harder to do. And we're going to use both as almost within our practices. So as I was mentioning earlier, different threads of religions bring different essences which embody important elements within a whole practice. For example, the Vedics and Hindu practices, for me, bring in this incredible idea of divinity in everything, this idea of bliss and joy and celebration, and I love that side of it. Buddhism, for me, some of the compassion and the wisdom practices are incredibly helpful and important, and I'm going to do some work on those. For me, Taoism has incredible energetic practices which bring us into intimate connection with the cosmos, with the planets, etc., etc., and that there's a great potency in that. I mean, these are things that I personally take, but for me, Christianity, the incredible power in Christianity, for me, is in forgiveness, actually. And, Christ had this incredible ability to teach us the power of forgiveness, and that was borne out in things like the Course in Miracles, which really, in its underlying thread, is about forgiveness, because this idea of forgiveness, if you think about it, is the essence of unconditional love, and that, for me, is the highest power in the universe. So I've changed internet, so maybe it'll work this time. It was on a nurse, I think on Maui, who was working a neurological ward and doing the night shifts. And this was a traditional Hawaiian Maui person who practiced a very traditional kind of earth-based religion. And that religion was based on the idea of oneness. And something strange started happening to the patients. As a neurological ward with complex neurological cases who were pretty advanced. What started to happen was the patients started to get better when they kind of shouldn't have. And anyways, what the nurse had been doing, and I don't know if this is actually true, but it's wonderful in its essence, is every night the nurse would pick up each case history, hold it in his hands, or her hands, I don't know who, and say, I forgive myself. I forgive myself, while holding the patient's notes. The meaning of that is that we're all one. And when you're forgiving anyone else, you are forgiving a part of you, because we are all one. And so because this person had such an intimate understanding and way with oneness, it manifests outwards. And it's an incredible, if you think about it, so, I mean, it's, I heard this story 20 years ago, it still struck me as something incredible. And the point about it is, as we forgive others, we forgive those parts of ourselves that maybe we've banished, maybe we have discarded, maybe we don't like that part of ourselves. So it brings us into a condition of unconditional love with ourselves and through the other at the same time. So it's a powerful practice. So if you can, in your mind, think about someone who's not too difficult to forgive, someone who's, just wound you up a little bit, and we'll start with them. But let's start by just getting into a kind of meditative practice posture, and get yourself comfortable and relax into yourself, and just breathe out the day a bit, and just let yourself settle into your sitting bones as you're sitting, and let your hands relax, let your shoulders drop, let your neck lengthen, let your eyes soften, let your breath soften. And understand that there is a part of your nervous system that has an inherent quietness to it. And your heart has stillness at its core. Within our blood, the stillness is at the core of that. Beneath the noise, it's in us, it's in our heart. And that is very close to the power that we're going to engage. So just sit in that stillness of our hearts for a minute. Now just allow that person who's not too bad to come into your consciousness. And from that place of stillness, which is in your heart, so it comes from your heart. This is not a conceptual thing. This is from a feeling place. Say quietly or loudly, I forgive you with my heart. I forgive you. Can you feel how that softens your heart? So let's try forgiving ourselves. So any part of us that we don't like, that we're not comfortable with, that causes us trouble, we all have them. Just allow that part of the grittiness of your personality, which actually, of course, is beautiful. Just allow yourself to forgive yourself for that. Now let's try the harder one. This is advanced degree level, PhD level. That person who, is harder to forgive. That person from history or from now, that just is really difficult to forgive. Just try and forgive them, or forgive, or say, I'm working towards forgiving you. Harder, but there's seeds. Especially if they're still causing trouble in the world, say. And as that energy, feel the quality of the energy of the forgiveness. And in its essence is threaded, or its essence is made up as a tapestry of unconditional love. Because there are no conditions in forgiveness. You just forgive. And there are no conditions in forgiving yourself. And if we understand that when we are forgiving others, we are forgiving ourselves, maybe we are engaging with this incredible power, the power that maybe drives the universe. So try that as a practice. It's quite a good one, isn't it? The hardest, the last person's a hard one, but we can work at it. I wish you well. Have a good evening, and we'll speak very soon.